we are now heading into one of our favorite segments, and that segment is Hot Take Debate. Woo! And this is a special Love Letters edition.
Yes.
I love it.
So tonight, instead of doing our typical one of us fights you with words, not hands, we're gonna all pick a relationship on the show that we think is really good, and then defend it against everyone else and which one we think is the best relationship on the show. So as our guest, Meredith, we'll let you go first.
But can I cheat?
Pick your fighters.
Can I cheat a little bit and do a fake one and a real one?
Oh yeah, why not?
Okay, so when asked this question, my first instinct is to say the best relationship on this show is Ross and Dwight.
I love that.
Because what a wonderful friendship. And here are two people who want the best for each other, truly listen to each other, and never assume that the other one has bad intentions.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in terms of like giving advice, talk about the counsel that we've seen on the show between the two of them. So I love them. But if we're talking romantic relationships, I'm going to be controversial, and I'm going to say Ross and Romelza. This is a flawed relationship between two people who've made mistakes in betraying each other. And yet so many times that happens in great relationships, and we never get to see people negotiate their way out of it and fall in love again. And these two people managed to do that, to accept each other's shortcomings, get better at it, and move on. And I love watching them, win at that.
I'm not mad at that.
Okay.
However, I think that my couple is better. I'm just going to say it. Now, in terms of people who have been through some hardships, Drake and Morwenna have suffered. We've got Morwenna having to marry the most disgusting character on the show, possibly, and George is kind of gross. But then they get together, and she still has so much ingrained trauma from that. And one of the joys of this season has been able to watch Morwenna and Drake talk that out, and him being so respectful of her and understanding her boundaries. And then in this episode tonight, when she just says to him, like, look, I never actually grieved for what I lost, and now I'm going to work on that, and I think I'm ready to move on. Like, oh.
It's some of my favorite writing in the whole series was in tonight's episode.
I know they're young, and they're sometimes kind of doofy and naive seeming, but I stan a legendary couple.
So I'm going to contradict you both.
Oh, okay.
No agreements here.
All right.
And I am going to say that my favorite are Dwight and Caroline. That is my ship. I will stand on the proudly.
I love it.
So why I think they're great is because, when we first saw them get together, as I talked about before, Caroline has this little conniving attitude to her. She's a schemer. And when she met Dwight, it sort of seemed like her natural intention to scheme and sort of be flirtatious and fun and not have a care in her head sort of went away, and she was like, this man is serious about things and he cares about things, and I want to help him with everything that he cares about. And it sort of brought out the best in her, because then that turned into, I want to help Ross with all the things he cares about, and I want to help Romelza with all the things she cares about. And it became Caroline going from a what's best for me and Horace to a what's best for me and the people that I love because of my husband, Dwight. And I think their relationship is super healthy because he's made her a better person, and she's been, in her own way, able to make him a better person as well, because he's sort of, his faults in the beginning were very much, he didn't think about himself enough, and he was very giving to a fault even. And she sort of made him understand that that's great, but he needs to pull back and take care of the things around him, because he can't continue to help people if he gives it all at times. So
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
For the fun.
For the fun.
But partly because I think that this season has actually been really weak for Dwight and Caroline, and I love them very much. I also ship them to the end of time, but their communication issues have been really coming through this season, where they're using Horace in a much more passive-aggressive way as their communication.
Which isn't fair to
buffer,
Horace, as we all know.
No, we love Horace, and we want him to be happy. But also, I think that Caroline's jealousy of Kitty, which is so odd to me because Dwight is very devoted to her, but that's been coming out a lot this season, and I'm worried that they're not talking about it in a way that will help them. And we saw how dangerous that can be for relationships with Ross and Romelza and their various shenanigans.
I also have to say that, because Dwight is so kind, I have to wonder if he'd be that great with, like, I'd ship him with anyone. He's just like a really great husband.
Yeah, ship Dwight with me. That's what I'm saying.
You can't. We took the quiz last week.
Right,
you
I'm
are
Dwight.
Dwight. You can't ship yourself with yourself.
Self-love, Andrea.
Okay, fine. Self-care. I just think I disagree with that, because I think one of the things that we're seeing is Caroline is still caring for Kitty, even though she does have that jealousy, and she's made it known to him. He's told her it's not true, and then since then she's sort of been like, I'm still feeling it, but I'm going to respectfully feel what I'm feeling, let you do your thing, and sometimes it's a little too much and I have to vent.
That's fair.
All right?
That's fair.
All right?
All right. Okay. Fine. Does anyone have any other strong feelings that they have to get out here?
I do have to say I agree with Meredith on Ross and Romelza being, it's been very enjoyable to see them throughout the show and have them being married from episode 3, so that we see how this relationship is playing out. I think that's been really fascinating.
And I wish there were more narratives out there in shows about people who cheat and overcome it. It's like we pretend as though that is the worst thing that can ever happen and is insurmountable, and in fact it is surmountable.
And it's funny because I can only think of one other one, which is in Sex and the City.
Oh, right.
Actually, was Miranda's relationship, I believe. Sorry, spoilers for everybody out there.
Andrew, oh my God.
But yeah, I can't think of any others where it's been,
and where that sort of it's drawn out, right?
Yeah.
Where we truly get to see her still sort of eye rolling him perhaps a year later, and then he has to deal with it. So I find that really fascinating.
I never really thought about that, but now I'm kind of curious to know if we'll see more of those narratives as time goes on.
Yeah.